It's 12 p.m. here. Hello, welcome everybody to this edition of Club Officer Training, sponsored by District 2 and Division A. Uh, the, the COT is basically for VP Public Relations. Before we start the meeting, I just to put this one, the online COT statement, just so everybody understand the privacy policy of the Toastmaster International. With that being said, I know everybody is aware of all this by this time, and then go to my pleasure to introduce Jim Heron, DTM. Jim moved to Birch Bay, Washington in December of 2019 and brought us 39 years of experience of Toastmasters experience. He has served as a District 45 governor and Region 7 advisor. Jim believes that club quality attract successful VPPR. Toastmasters is a place to improve communication and leadership skills to enable the member to achieve their life goals. Joined Kenya Kwanza Toastmasters in 1982 and has served as District 45 Governor in 1995 to 1996. And he also served as Region 7 Advisor in 2011-2012. Received the President's Citation in 2016 from Jim Kokoki, DTM, PIP in Washington, D.C. Becoming a very with the OTR for Northwest Advanced Speakers and Seattle International during 21-22 program year. Jim is also the chair of the past Region Advisor Council this year. Jim enjoys photography and sailing in his free time. Again, I welcome Jim Heron, ATM, to take over the meeting right now. Jim, it's all yours.
Thank you, VJ. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here for VPPR, Club Officer Training, and it's an area that I like so much. I'm a VPPR for 2 clubs this year in District 2. That's Northwest Advanced and Seattle 10, the International Toastmaster Clubs. So our agenda today is to speak about the role of the Vice President of Public Relations, to review their responsibilities and make sure you've got the right resources to get your job done. One thing, if you have a question, please put them into chat, VJ. I hope that you'll keep an eye on the chat for us, just in case there are questions.
Sure, we'll do that.
Bring them to my attention if that should happen.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, great. So our objectives is to identify your role, talk about your responsibilities, and get the resources. So we're going to get started in these 3 sections. We're going to talk about your transition into the position, what you do in the role of public relations, and we're going to talk about your executive committee role within the executive committee of the club. So to get started in a transition in your role, it's very important to meet with the previous Vice President of Public Relations and to review what the public relations efforts have been in the last year so that you can see the successes in membership building that have occurred. How many guests have come to meetings? How many guests were turned into members? And how does that get reflected in your year's Distinguished Club program? Something that I didn't do right off the bat, that's been hounding me a bit in my role, is I did not acquire the admin rights to the website and other social media. And that's been happening in dribs and drabs. And so I would make that transition talk, make sure you get the admin rights to the website and other social media so that you can start working with your team to make the changes. Also, to get started, there's a lot of materials to read. And The club officer handbook is one important document, and there is a slew of promotional materials we'll talk about later on. You can meet with the outgoing executive committee. Why? Because when you speak to the outgoing VPPR, maybe the executive committee may have some other ideas that they can share. And you want to meet with your current executive committee and make sure what your plans are in line with certainly the president and VP membership and other members of your committee. And also consider yourself a leader of the club, in that you're not necessarily a one-man or woman band, but that really you should think of creating a small team to help you in your role, because there's so much that you could do in this position, and with more hands on board, you can be better. In your transition, you're going to assess the current public relations situation. And so you'll look at your website, and you want to make sure that the information on the website is correct. Have you kept up to date your correct meeting time, the date, and the location? And you want to make sure that they all match and are all appropriate. You want to take down notes of what changes are needed. And you want to start putting together a plan, a list really, of those things you want to get done. And also be considering that many of our clubs, because maybe we haven't been purchasing snacks or having to buy meeting space, you may have a lot of money in the club bank account. And so it can probably afford to purchase some promotional materials to help you in your role for distribution to your club members. So let's talk about the activities for public relations officer. You're going to publicize the club. And it's true, it's absolutely true that one of the best secrets in the world of public speaking is that Toastmasters does the great job that it does in teaching people to gain self-confidence, to speak and to lead, in that message needs to get out to as best as you can to people far and wide. Your activity is to maintain the club website and other social channels. You want to keep that information current wherever possible, including pictures of current members, their achievements, when they get a level, when they finish a path, when they get an award outside of Toastmasters. You want to publicize these achievements for people to see. Not only does it help the club in terms of its own morale, it is also going to advertise that your members are moving. Look for a Toastmasters moderated social networking website. They exist, and they exist in LinkedIn, in Facebook. They exist even in Instagram. In that, if you can keep up to date in LinkedIn, for instance, with recent announcements, or even Twitter, that can help you filter information that you could promote within your club. Something that a lot of clubs don't do as much anymore is that's the creation of a club newsletter. And many clubs have replaced that with a website that contains the most recent information about club meetings and club news. And so that is kind of your choice, whether you want to do the newsletter or not. There are membership programs within Toastmasters, and there are times where you can piggyback in those membership programs with your own club membership program. And if you gain members from those programs, you get recognition from Toastmasters. You want to talk to your members about solicitation of articles that they may write for the website. And you can ask your members to pen these things, and you don't find yourself doing all the work. A media list is useful. And so think of those news channels where you might want to send a press release, and whether that be a newspaper, a local newspaper, maybe it's a corporate newsletter, create a media list, those places of where you're going to spread the good word to within your area that can help promote your club. That would include like events lists in local newspapers that may come out once a week. And that can be very effective to repeatedly be seeing that Toastmasters meets over time will attract people to your club. Here's some examples. I call it the old school. You see my business card. I encourage your club to have business cards, maybe a club business card that has the appropriate information so that people know when your club meets, and your members can pass those out and invite people to come to your meeting. The Northern Light is Blaine, Birch Bay, and Point Roberts community newspaper. And every week there's a little note about the Blaine Toastmasters Club having a virtual meeting. And so people read that newspaper because we don't have anything else up here in Birch Bay, so it gets noticed. And of course, flyers are available on the Toastmasters.org website. But two social media channels that are so useful today are Meetup and Facebook. The downside of Meetup is that you need to have a club bank account that can afford $15 a month, but it can be very effective because people put in their profile of what they're interested in and say that they're interested in leadership or public speaking. That Meetup will funnel your information about your club based on the benefits of your club being public speaking and leadership. And so people can find their way to you through Meetup. It just has a cost. A lot of clubs today are using Facebook pages, whether an individual page, but more likely a group page. In that on that group page, you put all the information that would identify your club. You would post photos. You would put information about club meetings. And then the idea is that you get your members to share those announcements on their own Facebook groups. And that will enable getting the word out far and wide about your club. That's something that I'm currently doing for Seattle 10 and for Northwest Advanced Speakers. LinkedIn is an option. I don't think of it very often myself, but here a club up in British Columbia, and it uses this as well as every other channel available. It's the Unicorn Tribe Toastmasters Club. The benefits of LinkedIn is it does allow your members to network, and you can follow the Toastmasters International LinkedIn page to get Toastmaster news. And then some people actually prefer LinkedIn because it is professional. The Facebook group page looks like this. Like I said, post announcements and share pictures. And that can be very useful. In Twitter is another channel that can be used. Again, Unicorn Tribe, I picked them out because I actually looked around a lot of clubs in my universe, and most are using Facebook, but very few line up and use all the channels like the Unicorn Tribe does. So on Twitter, you'd be more likely to use for sharing public speaking and leadership tips, putting your announcements, putting your links to the club website. And this would be the use for Twitter. Instagram is mainly photos, and the picture tells a story. And you'll notice the Unicorn Tribe puts together basically their pictures to their theme meetings to attract members to what their theme is for a current meeting. And then Meetup. It's certainly been a great funnel for new members to come to clubs that I've been a member of. In Lake Ridge, Virginia, where I came from in 2019, we had great success using Meetup. And we had great success also for putting an ad in our weekly paper. But in Vancouver, British Columbia, we are using Meetup, and we're getting a stream of guests coming in from our Meetup site for the Key Speakers Club up in North Van. And finally, YouTube. You put my name into YouTube and you'll find me giving my farewell speech to Lake Ridge Toastmasters. And so some clubs do post their speakers in the YouTube to get attention. And you can consider doing that too. Margaret Page actually is a member of the Unicorn Tribe. So it comes as no surprise that she did find herself on their YouTube page. So what are some of the resources? Well, in your action plan, there are a number of things that you may want to do. And you need to ask yourself, how are you going to do the job? And when do you want to get these things done? And who's available to help you? And what materials and resources can you use? That is what this list below is very helpful, in that Let the World Know is a great document. It's at www.toastmasters.org. And it has a lot of ideas of how to get the message out to the world. Now, can you see the image of Let the World Know there? Or is that just showing on my screen?
I see it. I see VPPR resources.
Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
switched to what
Okay.
you've opened.
Okay, so I'm not going to open these after all. I put the links in there so I could go to them quickly. But in Let the World Know, they have lists, for instance, of about 30 ideas of setting up a public relations I want to say program, but not a program, a campaign. And so that is always great ideas for that. Then the membership PR newsletter is a frequent distributed newsletter that has information on a regular basis. The media center, that actually has a number of resources that are collected. PR Corner does as well. That page does it as well. Then All About Toastmasters is always useful to hand out to new members and guests. You may want to have access to the Distinguished Club Program and Club Success Plan. And the brand portal is very important because Toastmasters wants us to stick to the brand when we're putting together our publicity. And that has to do not only with colors, but also the fonts we use. The Club Leadership Handbook is also instrumental, I think, in guiding you. And you'll find information on your role as a public relations vice president in that handbook. So take advantage of all those resources to help you out. So be sure to build a plan and put together the how, when, who, and what will help you achieve your goals. So the executive committee. I hope that every club that you're a member of has a regular executive committee once a month. And in that committee, every officer is normally encouraged and expected to provide a public relations report. And so in your report, you would want to mention what your campaign has been, what were the guests that came to your club, and which were turned into members, and how that was reflected in your Distinguished Club plan. And that is, in fact, something that I'm currently doing in cohort with the VPPR for key speakers, where I am the VP membership. This is a place where you can propose new promotion ideas for your club and get approvals from the team in order to make things happen. And as a member of the executive committee, I heartily recommend attending other Toastmasters events that are available during the year. And District 2 tends to have lots of opportunities for education. And of course, coming up will be the district conference later on this spring. For your club, you should brief your club as well. It's a chance to distribute promotional materials like business cards or brochures, something that can be handed out, something that can be, for instance, posted in the break room, maybe of your corporation. Maybe it can be posted at your local Starbucks. These things just encourage your club members to invite members of their friends to the club, because in fact, when you invite friends to Toastmasters, they are the people that are most likely to join your club. Also, you report your results of your public relations efforts and what upcoming public relations programs, and solicit volunteers to join your team in your club briefings. At the end of your term, arrange your replacement or assistance. In other words, if you've built a team, this gives you an opportunity of maybe 1 or 3 people that would be interested in taking your place as Vice President, Public Relations in the coming year. And then you can prepare your successor for office. Hopefully they're on your team, but if they're not in your team, help prepare your successor for office, just like we spoke of in the transition in the beginning of this presentation. And that is what I have for you today. And in order to make it more interactive, let's hear from members present and have a discussion for the remainder of this time, or we can go over other parts of this presentation if you want. But let's hear from you. Are you new VPPRs?
So, Jim,
are you experienced?
Jim, there is a question that was asked by Molly Shore.
Okay.
She's asking, we are still virtual. How does this role change in the virtual world?
You know, my way of thinking is it hasn't. And the more that we stop thinking that it has, the sooner we can get beyond it. I mean, club meetings are virtual, and we certainly lost lots of members who weren't attracted to having virtual club meetings. But what I'm finding is that people that are coming to our clubs don't know any different, that they are finding that this is a place to build their self-confidence just like before, a place to give speeches just like before, in that we have had a chance now with 2 years to get more and more familiar with Zoom and having Zoom meetings. We're more comfortable with it than ever before. So the way I see it is, if we ever get a day when we can meet regularly again, I think there's going to be members that will want to join by Zoom because of the convenience, because they don't have to displace themselves, because they don't have to fight with traffic to get to club meetings, that they'll actually make it necessary for us to think hybrid. That hybrid is going to become a future reality if we want to keep the members that won't join us in person, because it may be that they've joined a club now on the north side of Seattle and they live on the south side of Seattle. And that could be way too challenging. But truly, I think of it is the same way, that we can invite people, we can have a telephone conversation, we can have, if for instance, you wanted to say if you know a small business that is operating in your area, that have employees that might be interested in Toastmasters, would it be that much more difficult to make an appointment with the managers or leaders within that business to make a pitch about Toastmasters on a Zoom call? I think that everyone is on Zoom these days, and so that the businesses that we could possibly deal with will be used to receiving Zoom calls and having discussions in this type of environment. So more and more, I don't really think that there's that much difference once you get past the fact that we're not hugging and we're not shaking hands, and we're not able to hand people things personally, but we're relying on email. But a phone call and email can work pretty well as well. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Jim. And the second question is from Dawn Herju. She's asking, I've been using Meetup, but I'm finding that some people are disruptive and even thought I've emailed them the info. Also, we got Zoom bombed, which was pretty ugly. How are you dealing with this via Zoom?
Jim, can I step in here and help out a bit, since I taught the VPPR before? It was something I was going to have you back up and go over, which is social media. A couple of years ago, we had a very bad time with some people who did get a hold of Zoom links, got onto our social media links for various clubs, and did put some very, shall we say, unkind things. You have to make sure, number one, when you are allowing people access to your social media information, that you know they're good people, that they are going to at least attend the meeting. And if they're not going to attend the meeting, don't let them have access to anything other than maybe just reading stuff. For the Zoom bombing, make sure that you send out the link. When you send out the link, make sure that you put for them that they go into the waiting room, so that you can check them out before they come into your meeting, and give them a special code. You can do that in Zoom. It takes a few minutes, but it's worth it to keep that one or two people out of your club that keeps coming back and causing trouble. And it did take us a while to get rid of just 3 people caused havoc in quite a few clubs last year, and it took us a while to get rid of them. So it goes back to protecting the brand. You have to protect yourself as well. Don't just open up your social media to anyone. If they haven't joined or attended a meeting, say within a month or a couple of weeks, then you need to contact them, let them know that, hey, we can't keep you here. You're invited back anytime you want, but we can't have you, posting anything just to protect yourself. So on those Zoom links, when you're inviting the guests, make sure you put them into a holding room till you're ready to bring them into the meeting.
That's interesting. I have heard of situations where people have been Zoom bombed, and I've got to say that for the clubs that I'm a member of, we have not had the problem. And sometimes if you, as a matter of convenience, I think the Zoom link being on the club webpage does open you up to bombing, but it also makes it easier to get in. And if you've got someone that's found their way to you, then I think you need to take those actions. But I also think that it's also nice to be able to find your Zoom link pretty quickly in order to connect with your club. And me being kind of a last minute kind of guy, I tend to, not show up 15 minutes early to get into the club. And then sometimes it's taken me 15 minutes to actually get in when it's been made more difficult than just having an easy Zoom link to get in. So you need to certainly take action if you're getting bombed. And if you're lucky enough not to get bombed, then it can be more convenient.
And that being said, you need to keep updating your Zoom version. The Zoom keeps updating the security features every now and then.
Yes.
That may also help you.
Yes. And we also have on our club for Resonant, because we have been Zoom bombed, and it was for reasons that were very hard to understand why they would do this, but it did get into racial and color. But we did open up what I call a Zoom room, and that opens about anywhere from 6:45 to 6:50. It's usually playing music. It gives people a chance to come into just the Zoom room, say hi, gives us a chance to check them out to see if we want to go ahead and advance them into our meeting. So you have various ways, creative, fun ways of bringing people in without them feeling like, oh my God, I'm under suspicion for something. But you do have to be careful, because I don't know why people just seem to enjoy Zoom bombing Toastmasters meetings right now. And so really be very careful out there when you do open up and send that link out.
Great, thanks. Great insights there. And the next question is from Peter Cochran. Do you have information on what techniques have been most useful for bringing in visitors, new members?
Which techniques?
Do you have information on what techniques have been most useful for bringing in visitors / new members?
But for me this year, interestingly enough, the promotion that I've done on the Toastmaster International, I think it's either unofficial or official members group on Facebook, has gotten the most attention worldwide, and members in the clubs where I'm posting on that particular site, I'm getting visitors from as far away as Malaysia to meetings, and I think that's been fascinating. And also I get more kind of likes from people that know me from the East Coast from that site. Does anyone regularly post in the weekly Starburst for District 2? Sandy Malone, you're on this Zoom call. You've just recently posted for Seattle 10. You want to talk people through how you put together that post and make use of the Starburst?
Sure, Jim. I'd be happy to share. So it's oh so very difficult, and I say that in jest. It's simply an email post that is sent to the Starburst editor, and you do that before 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and then your announcement would be in the Monday version of the Starburst. And it is a very easy way to promote open houses, membership events, special events for your club anniversary events. And those are also great ways to attract new members and attention, is when your club's having a special anniversary coming up. It's a great way to rally the troops, your members, and get them engaged again also. So those are some ways. Thanks for asking, Jim.
Thanks, Sandy.
You're welcome.
I saw you back there, and I did see your Starburst entry for our upcoming meeting, so good job.
Thank you.
And the next question might be to maybe for the trio. Any recommendation for the virtual business cards? Does TM help with that?
What was the question again?
Any recommendations for the virtual business card? Does TM help with that?
Not that I'm aware of. Linda, are you aware of anything?
No, I'm not either.
No, and what kind of help do they want with a virtual business card? That's my question.
Yeah.
This is Molly. I was thinking, since there's a certain brand appearance that is preferred, and that perhaps gateway into producing a virtual business card that matches the brand would make it easy for people to generate them in a way that they could share them. I'm sure there are a lot of tools out there for generating virtual business cards, but it's going to be more of a headache if you have to match a brand.
Yeah, I would suggest going to the brand portal on Toastmasters International. They have a lot of different things available, and there's lots of templates that maybe you could find something that would work for you.
Okay.
Thanks. Next question is from Daniel. The question is, when sharing member stories and photos on social media or other public spaces, do we have to have the members sign a release or consent form?
Within your club, you should make sure that everyone finds it acceptable that you share their likeness. I don't know that you need to have a legal form on file per se, but you certainly want to be careful not to do it without their permission. I don't think there's an official rule for that, Linda or Tina.
There is a consent form, yes.
But for a normally used by a club?
Yep. Technically speaking, I don't know how many clubs are technically doing it, but there is a consent form and it is recommended that you get it. But how I've handled it personally in my club is, if we're going to take a group picture, we say we're taking a group picture to put on social media, and we have people looking at a camera, smile, maybe hold up a glass or make a sign. So they know that that's what we're doing. We just don't randomly take pictures and put them up. And as far as sharing people's stories, I would definitely ask them before I would just share something more publicly than inside the meeting.
On Resonant, we have it on our website. When you open up to our website, one of the first things you'll see is our calendar. And then right above the calendar is the release, the explanation that our meetings are recorded and your picture may be taken. Please let the Toastmaster know if you don't want to be involved in that. So we found that that has helped too. So far, we haven't had any problems to speak, but that's where we put ours.
Okay. There's another question from Raymond. Are there any tools on Meetup or Zoom to push people out of out of a meeting. I know in Zoom we can, but I'm not sure about Meetup. So
Well, Meetup is more of a, how would you want to push them out? Is it because they've joined the Meetup group or something? Certainly that they wouldn't come on. They would be there to get notices from the Meetup for that particular thing, but I don't know of a way to actually bar them from seeing your Meetup.
Oh, my question was, once they're on your site or at a meeting, what can you do via the hardware, or sorry, the software to remove them from the meeting? Can you actually shut them up?
On Zoom, you can. I've never done it, but I know you can do it.
How
we
about
doing?
Meetup?
Well, with Meetup, it's not like you're in a meeting room. What you're saying there is you don't want them to see your club anymore. Is that? I'd have to look into that myself. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
okay. So I see. I don't see any more questions. Anything?
I have a question. Has anyone experimented with online open houses, and what innovations there have been helpful?
How's that going in your department, Linda?
Actually, you'll hear about it more during the announcements, but it's going very well.
So you're going to have to hold your horses for that one.
We're
How-
planning an open house March 15th up in Bellingham, the Bellingham Evening Toastmasters. We've been a virtual club, a hybrid actually now for, I guess, at least 6 months, maybe longer, but we are planning an open house, and it will be a hybrid. And I think it'll go well because we have a couple techie individuals.
I think getting familiar with the breakout rooms for your guests where you can speak to them in a smaller space can be handy if you're good with that. And, just being able to maneuver people around that way and give them more personal attention can be helpful at some point during those meetings.
That's all I have for questions. You don't have any further questions? I think you can move ahead.
I'm just going to poll everyone is, do we have experienced VPPR people here, and are they willing to share what they've been up to in their most recent term?
Hi, Jim. It's Linda Miner again. Yes, I've been VPPR for my club since it started in 2019. I will be releasing that position to my new, I'm getting her trained now. I have had a lot of fun and learned a lot doing that position. And it's also helped me in my own business to do promotions and learning how to do open houses and invitations and learning Zoom and all of the other social media stuff. And Toastmasters has some really great information online for the VPPR on how to handle everything. every possible thing you could think of, with the exception of maybe that one or two grouchy people that come in the door. But I have to say, I'm going to be taking a break from Toastmasters after June, and I have had an absolute blast doing the position. We've gone open houses every month. We're about to have a Valentine's Day game night. Instead of speeches, we're going to hold a whole bunch of video games. So you'll be seeing that little information coming down the pipe here probably tomorrow or by Saturday. We are going to be moving the day of our meetings now because just about everybody is tired of Wednesday, or our Wednesdays are so blocked up. So we're moving to a Tuesday night meeting, same time. So our club has a lot of changes coming through that I have to put through before I leave so that my new VPPR can take over with a clean slate. So that's the one thing I will do before I hand it over to her, is to make sure everything is clean and that I'm there for her during those first few months of her taking over on her own, and then quietly just let her do her own thing. So it's a wonderful position, and you can use it for other things in your life. So you get a chance to do the position, take it, go for it, and have fun with it. It's just a lot of fun. And I know some of you have seen some of my insane flyers that have come through, not necessarily matching the branding, but they have attracted enough attention that our club gets at least 1 or 2 visitors to our club a month. So, and we've gotten members from those crazy flyers that I've put out the door. But I have really loved it, and I've had to work with some great people learning how to do Toastmasters branding and marketing. So I can only say probably one of the best positions that I've ever had fun doing.
Linda, I've got a question for you, and that is, when you make your flyer, where do you post it?
We post them in all of the social media that we currently have, which right now for us is Facebook, LinkedIn, Meetup. I also post it through our Slack on our website. It's posted on our website. The first thing you see is when you open up our page will be any new flyers or any new information. Goes out to all of our members and past members, just in case they want to attend. And we have used Starburst, but I've been a bad girl and not using it. But my new VPR has learned how to use it. So you'll be seeing stuff from her through Starburst. And, where else have we posted them? To other various members and other clubs that we have worked with as well. We'll send them a flyer because we have a couple what we like to call sister clubs. We visit them, they visit us, we do speeches there, we train each other, so they get those particular flyers and information as well. So it gets out the door pretty well, and the next thing we know, we've got 20 people sitting there playing video games with us. So I would like to invite everybody, and that will be February 10th on Tuesday. February 10th, I forget what day, I got to go check that out. Anyway, it's in February, and we will be doing a video game night, and we would love to have everybody come join us. And that flyer will come in. It'll either be the 8th or the 10th. Forget which day they wanted to put it on. And it's just a day where we like to invite, it's an open house where we invite everybody and anybody to come. We're not necessarily doing speeches or table topics or anything. It's just a chance for everyone to relax and for our guests to ask questions. We get a lot more questions and answers done while you're trying to shoot down the enemy. So we did that at Halloween, and it turned out to be extremely successful.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to conclude the PR session now and return control to Division A Director, VJ. We can't hear you, VJ.
No, we can't hear you. I'll just take over for a minute, VJ, while you figure that out and start with the announcements for the trio. The first announcement that I have is very exciting news for our Leaders Breakfast. We have the lineup of speakers that are going to be at our Leaders Breakfast on the morning of February 5th at 9 a.m. We are going to have Second Vice President Roddy Spear, Lee Amantangelo, and the 2005 champion of world champion of public speaking, Lance Miller. So that is our lineup of speakers. Please let everybody know it's on the D2TM calendar. You can register for that. Even if you've already been to training, you can come to the Leaders Breakfast. And it does count for club officer training, but it is not just for officers. Any club members can come. So please spread the word. And then the district conference that is happening beginning May 14th with our business meeting and running all the way through to May 22nd or May 23rd. Anyway, we have the May 22nd, yes. We have the reigning champion of world champion of public speaking, Verity Price, will be speaking at our conference this year, as well as a host of other fantastic speakers and lots of fun. So hopefully you will get that on your radar and attend the conference this year. It will be virtual. Those are my announcements, and I will hand it over to Linda for hers.
Oh, thanks, Tina. We're all looking forward to the conference. So I wanted to share about incentives. We have a couple of brand new incentives that just came out. I'm not going to read the entire webpage to you because you can just go on D2TM and read it, but there's a brand new marketing video incentive that if you make a video, this is perfect for you, VPPRs. If you make a video for your club in either February or March, you are eligible for $50 D2. Or if you have a club open house, same dates, also $50. Talk Up Toastmasters is on both from World Headquarters, and our portion in D2 is that we will give $10 per new member in February and March. And then, as you know, Beat the Clock always comes in May and June, so that's later. And that's what we have for incentives. And also I wanted to say that the, I'm sorry, I can't think of the Angela Barris's program, not accredited speakers. I just drew a complete blank. My husband just walked in.
Speakers Bureau.
Thank you, Tina. You got my back. The Speakers Bureau is being very elevated this year, and she has speakers ready to go for open houses. So if you're interested in being on the Speakers Bureau or you want a speaker, contact Angela Barris and get a speaker for open house. Back to you.
Wait, we still can't hear you. So
Katie, are you saying that the link to the survey is not working for you?
yeah, I just tried it, Katie, and it seemed to work. Is anybody else having trouble with the link? Okay, Katie, drop your email into chat for me and I will get it emailed over to you. So please, please, please fill out the survey. We really want your feedback on this training. It helps us for future trainings and it helps our fabulous trainer. Thank you so much, Jim, for presenting today. Thank you all of you for coming. If you'd like to take just a few minutes and fill out that survey before you leave us today, we will give you just a few minutes to get started on that. BJ, can we hear you yet? No, we can't hear you. If you have anything else that you'd like to say, type it into chat for us, VJ. While everybody is working on their survey. You do have to leave us. Thank you so much again for coming. And we will see you all very soon. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.